How are you doing, Stephen?
I'm doing okay. You
So
see, we both have
you're
the
very
headphones.
professional.
Very professional. No,
Thank you
this
so
is
much for joining me on my podcast, Stephen.
pleasure.
Yeah, the first thing I would like to know is, do you know where the name Tobolowsky comes from?
I think I do. And it may be a legend it may be a legend as opposed to anything real. And it's a little bit like the movie The Godfather, is that my grandfather uh, came from Drobny, Poland, and he immigrated through Galveston, Texas, not through New York. He immigrated through Galveston, Texas, because there were a lot of people from his community that immigrated to Texas instead of north. And the immigration official asked him in his own way, "Who are you?" And my grandfather supposedly said, "I am Abram from Tobolowsk." And he says, "Okay, you are Abram Tobolowsky." So just like you're Don Corleone, you're Abram. But I don't know if that's true. And now,
But
and
it's the same what they did with Native Americans here. They gave
it,
them Western
it
names.
now where are you? Where are you from? And where are you recording from?
I'm from Germany and I'm
Yeah,
recording from
but where in Germany?
Bavaria, Nuremberg,
Bavaria. Okay, so I
Nuremberg.
spent quite a bit of time in Tegernsee. Yes, I did. I spent a serious amount of time in Tegernsee, got into a little trouble in Tegernsee, and I spent a summer in Bad Salzuflen up north by Hanover, and then these people, the Diekmans that I stayed with, were very well off. They were the only people who were taking exchange students, and poor Michael and Christian Diekman were going to stay in our place in Texas, like a swap. It was not a swap. You know, they had like up north, they had a nice indoor swimming pool because of the weather. Tegernsee, they had an outdoor pool, an indoor pool. They all they had everything there, and I felt so bad, but I had a lovely time. Lovely time. It was quite beautiful. I was 19 at the time,
Okay,
and
you could at that time you couldn't get in trouble in Tegernsee.
no,
There's no way.
no way, no way. But I did get into trouble in East Berlin.
Okay, that is a different story, East Berlin.
That's a
Before
different story.
before 1989, yeah,
Yes.
that's a different story.
Do you want to hear the East Berlin story?
Yes,
Okay,
please.
okay. So the whole deal, all the kids from Texas who were going to live with German families, in the middle of this summer, we were going to take a 2 or 3 week bus trip to various places in Germany, not with our families in Germany, but just it was an organized trip with basically students from all over Texas. So we were going, one of the last stops, we were going to Berlin, and then we were going to go into East Berlin. And the guards got on our bus, and a couple big scary guards with military gear, machine guns, came walking on the bus. And Mark Solomon was sitting next to me. He was a 16-year-old, and he had watched too many movies, I think. He did not recognize the danger that maybe we all were in. So as the guard is walking down, Mark says to him, and I quote, "Get your gun out of my face, you fucking commie." It did not go over well for some reason. So the guards
So
pull
wait.
Mark.
They understood English?
They understood a few of the crucial words that Mark said. They understood fucking commie. I think they understood that part of the sentence well. So they grabbed Mark off of the bus and me. I didn't say anything. I was just sitting next to him. So they grab us both off of the bus, and we were at Checkpoint Charlie. and they made us stand up against. I don't know if you've seen Checkpoint Charlie, but they're when it existed. You have the booth where the guards are, and then inside in the East German part, East Berlin part, there's this red wall, red concrete wall that looked like maybe it had some bullet holes in it. And they made me and Mark stand up against the wall. Just stand up, don't move. And the guard went into his guard place. The other guards took our luggage off of the bus and pulled it off. And now the chaperone of our group, who was German, very nice guy, very smart guy, he is running to the American consulate now. So the bus leaves. The bus leaves, and he's going to the American consulate, and Mark and I are standing against the wall.
In
So
East
we,
Berlin at Checkpoint Charlie.
yes,
Okay,
yes,
that is
at
scary
Checkpoint
like
Charlie.
hell.
Now, we're standing up against the wall. Like I said, I did nothing. And they take our luggage off and they open our luggage up in front of us, not that close to us, but about 10 feet away from us. And they start pulling all of our clothes. And for mine was mainly just dirty underwear, so you're welcome to it. So they were going through our luggage, pulling it out. And then it started thundering. And the guard left and went into his little guardhouse. And it started to rain. And we had to stand in the rain. All of our luggage was totally soaked, and the German guard was like knocking on the window. He's like, "I'm watching you," and he's there, and they're passing around vodka, and he's getting like little gifts of vodka, take a sip, and then he looks out at me and goes, "To you, assholes, to you." So I'm standing up there, horrific. We were up against that wall. I don't know, time kind of stands still, but I got to say it had to be between 1 and 2 hours of being up against this wall. And then the head of our group came running back and said he had this piece of paper from somebody, gave it to the guards. They let us get our wet clothes, and the guards were and we left with them. And I felt that story was kind of lost in history because over the years, the Germans, they redid Checkpoint Charlie. They redid that whole area, and Checkpoint Charlie's gone. And I mean, it's gone. And so my wife and I were in bed watching the Tom Hanks movie that Steven Spielberg, bless his heart, did about Tom Hanks is the insurance guy, and he's coming over to West Germany. And there, in the movie, was Checkpoint Charlie. And there in the movie was the red wall where Mark and I stood. And because of dear Steven Spielberg, that bit of my past is preserved by art. There is history and there is art. And art wins out all the time. Art will survive history. And so Steven Spielberg survived East Berlin. He did.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So before Steven Spielberg, you didn't think of it.
Well,
It
I
was
thought of
buried
it
in.
as a story. I thought of it as a story of something that was awful that happened to me and how I kept wanting to punch Mark in my sleep. Stop it, Mark. Don't say that, Mark. And I did get another benefit. This is an odd benefit I got from it. So the people at the Lions Club asked me if I would talk about my experiences to the German people. Like, how was our trip? How was our trip? And the German people had no idea I had experienced this thing against the wall. And so I made this speech when I was right at the end of our trip in Germany. And I was saying, it isn't walls that make East and West. It's people that make East and West. And, some of the people we met in East Germany, the most beautiful people you'd ever want to meet, just the most terrific. And it's people. And if people could understand the beauty of the human spirit versus political apparatus, whatever, there would only be one Germany and not two. And I got all this applause from these German people. So the German people made a suggestion that I go speak to the UN at age 19. So when we finished, we came back to America. I was in Dallas, and then I got the call saying they wanted me to come to New York and speak to this. I didn't speak at the damn General Assembly. No, but they took me to speak. I don't know if it was the Security Council or something, but I went and I spoke at the UN. So Steven Spielberg, UN, and Mark Solomon, I just want to pound you on the head still to this day.
I have to say, I have to repeat it again. At age 19,
At age 19. Look
even many
out.
many people don't don't achieve that with age 60.
No, no, no. But the people at the UN loved it because, I was singing their song. Again, art is going to triumph. They like someone who sings their song. And so, if people could get along, oh my God, if people could get along.
Yeah, sadly they don't.
No, apparently they
Because
don't.
no,
No.
that's because we are humans. That's why.
Yes, yes. We are humans and we're always looking for what is that? Selection, natural selection. And so the human mind spins off a million different theories on how we can survive and thrive. And some of those, I'm beginning to think sitting at home watching TV, eating potato chips is pretty high on the list right about now. Just stay at home, just relax, take it easy, enjoy your children and now my grandchildren, enjoy them, and just enjoy life as much as possible.
Yeah, think positive. Yeah, it's you have to. Otherwise you get nuts.
You get nothing.
Yeah, and you get nuts.